Thank you so much for watching Landumc Goes There. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell notification button. The Terminator is a 1984 science fiction action film that was directed by James Cameron. It was also written by Cameron too, and produced by Gale Ann Hurd. The movie stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Michael Biehn, Linda Hamilton, and Paul Winfield. The storyline follows a cyborg assassin that's called the Terminator, as he's sent back through time to 1984 to kill the seemingly innocent Sarah Connor, who's a significant woman in a bitter future war with a race of machines. If the Terminator succeeds, mankind is doomed. Sarah's only hope is a soldier from the post-apocalyptic war who has chased the Terminator back through time. The future of the human race depends on which one finds her first. The development for the movie came when James Cameron was in Rome, Italy, filming another film. At that time, he fell ill and had a dream about a metallic torso holding kitchen knives, dragging itself from an explosion. At the time, he was really inspired by John Carpenter, who had made the slasher film from 1978, Halloween, all on a really low budget. Cameron used this dream as a launching pad to write a slasher-type film. But Cameron's agent didn't like it at all and didn't feel like he ought to go in the horror film direction. After Cameron returned to Pomona, California, he went ahead and wrote the first draft of The Terminator, in which he used influences from 1950s science fiction films, along with the television series The Outer Limits from the 1960s. He blended that with contemporary movies such as The Driver from '78 and Mad Max 2 from 1981. That initial outline for the script involved two Terminators being sent back to the past, the first one being similar to the one in this film, while the second was made of liquid metal and couldn't be destroyed with conventional weapons. But Cameron soon decided that the film technology at the time was unable to create the liquid Terminator as he envisioned it, and he shelved that idea until the appearance of the T-1000 character in Terminator 2, Judgment Day, which was released in 1991. While shooting the film, the director often resorted to what is called guerrilla filmmaking, as a way of getting around the required permits that were needed for certain scenes. This involved the production crew and actors quickly arriving at specific locations, shooting the scene, and leaving before the police arrived. As a result of this, some of the people that you see in a few shots are actually everyday citizens completely unaware that they were going to be in a film. This was also used for some reshoots that Cameron did, even calling and waking Schwarzenegger up at 3 a.m. to meet him on location to quickly reshoot a scene. He also used this tactic to film the very last scene where Sarah drives off into the desert, waiting for the heat to rise to the point that ripples could be filmed. A highway patrolman suddenly appeared, at which time producer Gale Ann Hurd convinced him that they were working on a UCLA film project, and he allowed them to go ahead and finish. It's said that Schwarzenegger did his best to avoid Linda Hamilton and Michael Biehn as much as possible and to have as little contact with them during filming as he could, since his character was trying to kill them, and he didn't want to form any connections that might hinder that look on the screen. He also worked every day for almost a month to prepare for the role. The first 2 weeks he practiced weapon stripping and reassembly, blindfolded, until the motions were completely automatic, like a machine. He also spent hours at the shooting range, practicing with different weapons without blinking or looking at them when reloading or cocking them. He also had to appear ambidextrous. The director also decided to give Schwarzenegger even fewer lines in the film than his earlier film Conan the Barbarian, in which Schwarzenegger had 24 lines. In this movie, he has only 14. When it came to casting the role of Kyle Reese, they wanted a star whose popularity was rising in the U.S., but one that would also have foreign appeal. They looked at Michael Biehn, but he almost didn't get the role of Kyle because on his first audition, he spoke in a southern accent. This all as a result of working on a part for a stage production of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, one which he didn't get the role. They called back Biehn for another audition, and this led to him getting the part. In the first pages of the script, Sarah Connor is described as 19, small, with delicate features, pretty in a flawed way. In other words, she doesn't stop the party when she walks in, but you'd love to get to know her. Her vulnerable quality masks a strength that even she doesn't know exists. They looked at quite a few actresses, including Jennifer Jason Leigh, Melissa Sue Anderson, and Jessica Harper, before finally casting Linda Hamilton, who had just finished filming Children of the Corn. Initially, Arnold Schwarzenegger was considered for the role to play Kyle Reese, instead of him playing the Terminator. The bodybuilder turned actor had made somewhat of a name for himself in The Long Goodbye, Pumping Iron, and Conan the Barbarian. And one of the producers for Orion Pictures met the actor at a party and decided to send him the script for consideration. But James Cameron felt differently. He envisioned Reese as a non-bulky, more sensitive man, so he was less than enthusiastic about casting a former Mr. Universe in that pivotal role. The producers still wanted Cameron to meet with him, so he agreed to meet him for lunch, just at their insistence. He's later admitted that his plan all along was to pick a fight with Schwarzenegger so that he could claim that the actor was impossible to work with. But completely against his expectations, they got along great, and Schwarzenegger showed real enthusiasm about the script in general, and its dark antagonist in particular, providing tips on how the villain should behave. It was then that finally the director had a change of heart and offered the role to Schwarzenegger. Schwarzenegger gladly accepted, even overruling his agent, who advised him against playing villains. Now, one of the craziest things about this entire story is that they really did consider O.J. Simpson as a frontrunner for this role of the Terminator. They even met with him, and Cameron did an audition with him. But at the time, the director responded, saying that they couldn't use him because he quite simply wouldn't be a believable killer on screen. Looking back on this now, this seems really odd because we all know what O.J. Simpson eventually did. Go back and watch this really good film. It's a nail-biter. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.